All right, let's talk about last week, shall we? Cheers. Welcome back, everybody, to me doing the weekly Navel-Gazing, where I talk about all the books I read last week, or failed, and all the books I am planning to read this week, and all the videos I made last week, and all the videos I plan to make this week, and then probably won't, and then it all descends into rambling about whatever comes up, right? So, let's do that, right? And talk about books that I read last week. Those were unfortunately not as many as I wanted to because I got sick. I had a bit of a cold, and while, not exactly a terrible thing in any meaningful sense of the word, like there was no real suffering, it still kind of impacts my reading abilities. If you have like that fog around your head because you're maybe running a slight fever or anything of the sorts, it's kind of hard to focus, and that's why a lot of the reading plans that I made did not come to full fruition. Nevertheless, I did read some books and finish some books. I did, as I said last week, I think, I did finish Burning Girls and Other Stories by Veronica Shanos, which incredibly good story collection. Like, seriously, go read those stories. They're all amazing. I think some of them are available online for free. Otherwise, go check it out. It's on Audible as a currently part of the Plus program, so why not read all of them? They're really, really, really good. If you like interesting fairy tale retellings full of anger, politics, and all of that, which, if you're watching my channel, chances are you might, go check those out. They're really, really good. And then I did start Blood and Mistletoe by Ronald Hutton, which is a history of the Druid in Britain. And then my brain kicked in and I failed to finish that. And at this point, I will just go back and reread it in full, like the first 5-6 chapters that I started, because, brain and all of that. It's a really good book so far, though. So yeah, go read that if you're interested in Druids, and more importantly, in how the image of the Druid has changed over time and is tied into the national identity of the British. I really like those kind of analyses of topics. Ronald Hutton has done the same thing for The Witch. I recently read that one as well, and we all know where that led me. So yeah, really, really highly recommend these kinds of historical analyses and so forth. And if you're into Druids, go check that one out. So I read that first 5 chapters, and I'm going to do the same again once I'm done with my current read. And then I did, of course, do a quick reread of Harry G. Frankfurt's On Bullshit. It's a really, really short text. Yes, Goodreads counted as an entire book. It was published in like a 76-page hardcover by Princeton University Press. Make of that what you will. But I did reread it. It's also freely available in all kinds of places. So if you feel like, reading one of those fundamental philosophy texts of the last 25 years, go check that one out. It's a really good text in that regard. And then I did read, finally, and finish The Devil is Here in These Hills, West Virginia's Coal Miners and Their Battle for Freedom. By James R. Green. It's really good if you're into, labor history, and you really should. It's it covers the struggle around West Virginia and attempts to unionize West Virginia coal miners, the battles or the lengths that mine owners and capital in general went to avoid all of that and so forth, and how it did sort of end during the New Deal, because then unionizing was slightly easier. So if you want to learn some American history that you might really want to learn more about say, work safety and all of those kind of things, and how a lot of people got killed for that, because those kind of protections were not given as a bonus to people by the magnanimous, capitalists, but instead were, in fact, hard fought for. Go read that book. Highly recommend it. It's a really good book if you are interested in those kind of histories. So that's something I read. And then I did read a fiction book, or reread one in this case, and that is, of course, Revenger, the first book in the Revenger trilogy by Alistair Reynolds. It's teenage girl space pirates, and it's really good. I knew that before because I read it when it came out, and I was surprised by how much I really still enjoyed it and how incredibly, just good that book is, right? I read all of it yesterday before I made the video, and It's incredibly fast-paced for an Alistair Reynolds story. It does have a lot of like cool action stuff in it. It has so many cool world-building ideas in there. Look, it's just a really, really good book that is very different from a lot of other things. So read it, Revenger. It's worth it. Trust me. And then I did read in full for the first time. And by the time the video is up, this will be completely finished. I read Feminist Theory from Margin to Center by Bell Hooks. I have read excerpts from that before at university, but I figured, why not, read the whole thing? Same way that I did recently read The Wretched of the Earth by Frantz Fanon. One of those things that you have with university, if you study philosophy or history and adjacent stuff, is that you go to courses and you often get, assigned reading, and sometimes those are just like one chapter out of a book, or one, especially with certain, books that are sort of like theory or whatever. Oftentimes, each of these chapters is basically an essay in itself. Sometimes you just read one of them or two or whatever. And one of the things that I'm currently doing is going back and reading, these books in full. I did the same 2 years ago when I decided to read like all 3 volumes of Capital by Marx. Kind of the same thing, right? So yeah, Bell Hooks, Feminist Theory from Margin to Center. Go read it. It's worth your time. Trust me. You'll learn a lot about intersectionality, and isn't that something really, really important? Yes, it is. So that's my reading for last week. So not as much as I wanted to, but brain dead doesn't help with reading. So, what am I going to read this week? Well, several things. As I said, I will read and finish Blood and Mistletoe by Ronald Hutton. It's, as I said, a good book. Then I really want to read Summer of Fire and Blood by, I keep forgetting the name. It doesn't matter really that much. It's a history of the German Peasants' War of 1525, and, that's a really cool time, and lots of cool stuff is happening there. It came out last Thursday, and I'm very excited to reading that. There is, of course, part 2 of the Oliver Cromwell biography by Ronald Hutton that I'm going to read, and there are other things that I'm obviously interested in. There's Gotham and Greater Gotham, both volumes of New York history from the 19th and early 20th century. Those are on the table somewhere. And then there is fiction books, because there are, as you may have inferred from me calling it the Revenger trilogy, there are 2 more volumes in that trilogy. Shadow Captain and Bone Silence by Alistair Reynolds. And I am going to read those 2, or reread in my case, because, I've read it before. And the reason for that is, of course, Pirate Winter, because we are still in that for like another week. So that's the reading plans for now. Something else may come up. Who knows? I will, I'll think about whatever else when I think about it. Beyond that, let's talk about the videos, right? I did make one. I did make one video, and that is, of course, the wonderful video for Revenger that I recorded yesterday. As next part of Pirate Winter. Is it the best video I've ever made? No. I was under a bit of a, time pressure, but I wanted to get it out, and after recording it, I felt that I had said most of the things, and what, with this being a theory, not a theory, this being a trilogy, I can always add bits and pieces about the world building in the discussion of book 2 and 3. So we went with it. It's out there. Watch it if you want. Most importantly, go read the books and then watch it, and do all of those fun things. I do appreciate that. That's the only video I made. I did have a spontaneous live stream on Saturday that went for like 4 hours, so that's massive. And I did, of course, do the sprint things that I, do every morning. So that also happened. Beyond that, let's talk about video plans for this week. Well, obviously, videos for Shadow Captain and Bone Silence. I have an appointment with my dentist for next Tuesday. I had one this morning. To do some stuff for the teeth and preparing for a temporary prosthesis before the full implant and so forth. That will take like 3 months until I get like an implant for that tooth, and then another couple months, I guess, until the crown can be set on that. So there's still ways for me to find out how much a gold tooth would actually cost. For now, I will get a temporary replacement next Tuesday, and from then on, at least I won't look like a pirate anymore, which means Pirate Winter ends on, Monday, I guess, or ends whenever all the videos I can record until then are up. So this is your last call. If there is a pirate book you want me to read beyond the ones that I've talked about, Tell me so right now. Except, of course, once again, Pirate Latitudes by Michael Crichton. Not going to read that one. Fuck that guy. So, yeah, videos for Shadow Captain and Bone Silence will be recorded this week. Ideally, I'll not do both of them on Saturday and Sunday, but who knows. So these are videos that I will definitely make. Are there other videos that I want to make? Yeah, there's always ideas about stuff, right? I feel I have some of those. I mentioned that I might do a video explaining like why German elections are kind of important right now, and how German elections work, and what the kind of main parties are and so forth. I'll see if I can get that all figured out in the next day or two, because, you know, if not, it's kind of too late, what with, you know, German elections being next Sunday. So that may happen if I still feel confident of doing something so far away from books on this channel. There is obviously the elephant in the room that is whatever happened last week, the entire thing that happened last week around accusations by Naomi King all about Daniel Green and the whole fallout of that. I am obviously watching videos that are connected with that. I shared that. We'll talk about that in a moment in detail. So there is still the chance that I feel the need to make a larger video explaining what we could possibly learn from what happened last week, because there's a lot to learn. And yeah. We will talk about that if I feel the need, if I am confident that I can do the whole subject justice in a meaningful way. In you know, I'll ask some people whose opinion on that I trust, and we'll see where that goes. So these are ideas for videos. I might still make a video on Burning Girls and Other Stories by Veronica Shano, is because it is such a good book, and we can talk about feminism and other elements in that book. You know, good idea, wasn't it? Wouldn't it be like a really good idea? We'll see where things go from there. So ideas are here, nothing else. There is, of course, the fact that next Saturday, being the 22nd of February, is in fact the last Saturday of the month, which means we should do the monthly Marxist malcontent. And I am going to do that. I don't have a guest yet. If you are a booktuber and really want to come on, please let me know. I'll try to get someone on otherwise. Well, you know, I'll also try to reach out to some people and see if someone is willing to come on, and we'll see where that goes. But that's roughly where we are, and there will, from tomorrow onwards, there will be sprints again in the morning. I just couldn't do them this morning because I was, you know, at the dentist. And it turns out live streaming from the dentist is maybe not something I should do. So, yeah, speaking about all of the live stream stuff, right? Because I think that is an interesting thing to talk about for a second here. See, I've been doing a lot of that recently, and I do enjoy it. I did really enjoy the stream on Saturday. I think it worked really well. It said calm and collected in the title. That was obviously slightly ironic and all of that, but I think we managed to stay fairly talk about some heavy topics, and I tried to, you know, tie it back into books and media and stuff like that for again and again, and I feel we had a pretty good conversation about a lot of stuff without getting too aggressive or anything of the sorts, and I do really enjoy that. The problem is, of course, the further away we get from just book stuff, the less interesting these things can get to, you know, readers of books that watch this channel when it comes to, well, to content. We spoke about that last week when I said, like, you know, maybe some people are frustrated that there's not enough Malazan content on here, which I get, yes, and there will be Malazan content this year with No Life Forsaken and all of that, right? But the thing is, live streaming kind of cuts, sort of like changes the way that the channel works, changes how the channel is, you know, looked at by the algorithm and all kinds of other things. And I am not sure how that works and how that feels to you guys, right? That's kind of what I'm trying to get towards here, right? I was, you know, sitting at home on Friday, you know, being Valentine's Day, and I was certainly frustrated by a lot of things. Not all of them related to Valentine's Day, just, you know, general frustration with life, the universe, and everything. And I'm like, hey, I could just do a live stream. And there's like two things happening there. The first thing is that what I've noticed is that there is a way of live streams interacting with chat being much more, well, interactive than me posting up like a video, right? And some of you commenting. And chances are very few of you will be commenting because not that many people actually watched the videos or have read the book that I talk about and so forth. And I guess in a lot of ways, writing a comment under a video has a higher bar, like higher threshold than typing a few words in chat. So I just like one of those things where it feels different to type a comment and press send and everything, and it shows there forever, versus just hanging out in chat and just blasting out your opinions. I think the threshold for anxiety or just like is lower in chat. So if we assume that, a part of the motivation for making these kind of videos and all of that is, of course, to have conversations with you, get some feedback and all of that, then live streams are much more tempting to someone like me, because, I'm like, oh, I'm alone at home. I'm frustrated with everything. For all kinds of health reasons, I can't leave the house and do something fun, like, I don't know, go to a bar or meet with friends or whatever, because I'm, still somewhat sick and whatever. But I can go online and then I can talk to a lot of people, and some people will talk back, and then I'll feel happy for at least a while and all of that. And you see the problem there, right? That is not necessarily a healthy thing in the long run. Like obviously, it's cool as long as everyone goes out and is happy afterwards. Like, no harm done. But if this becomes sort of like a way of dealing with problems, or like avoiding to deal with problems, or a way of basically a form of mental health treatment for myself, that's something I should probably not do. And I think it's important to see that, especially when we talk about like social media influences and so forth, how these things can become addictive. And addictive in this case just means having conversations with like friends or people that feel like friends, even though they are on the other side of the planet and all of that, right? You don't feel alone if you can talk to people on the internet, and that's valuable, but it can also become, sort of, as I said, slightly addictive in a way. And that's certainly something I'm aware of. So that's the first part of this. The other part is, of course, that I assume there are people out there subscribed to my channel that are incredibly annoyed by the fact that there's constant live streams popping up right now. I did like a quick Friday afternoon, because I'm still at that point where I don't just like switch on the computer and go like, live stream now because fuck you. I did post a poll on the community tab, and some people clicked on the no button, which I obviously titled stop with the live streams already. And I'm like, well, obviously I should have not done that if I wanted, just a feedback on whether people want me to stream on Friday evening or not. But you get that feedback, and I'm like, yeah, maybe there are people out there right now that are incredibly frustrated that this is basically clogging up their YouTube recommendations. It's clogging up whenever they click on the channel, because all of these things show up in the channel. I mean, obviously I could just go and maybe I should do that. Basically unlist all the recordings of at least the breakfast sprints, because they just like remain there forever and ever and ever. And I mean, I know some people are sometimes rewatching them or watching them later because they are not awake when I come up. And I know people watch recorded sprints. I know this exists, but maybe like after a week or whatever, I can just automatically unlist them, except for like the latest one. So those of you who have missed one or come in later can still watch it like the same day or the next day. But like after a week I take them, offline, so they don't clog up the entire page of the channel. Maybe that's a way of compromising there. Or maybe it would be a clever idea of moving a lot of the live streaming stuff, say, to Twitch, for example, as a different platform. And maybe that's an option. Who knows? I am very uncertain with these kind of things, as I am very insecure about just about everything. So, but I thought I'd mention all of this for the time being, so you see where I'm coming from, and going like, well, so I've streamed on the last 2 Saturdays. So what's the monthly Marxist malcontent? How is that different from all the other streams that I call like spontaneous hangout or hanging out while the world is burning or anything of the sort? Does the monthly Marxist malcontent thing stand out anymore, or should I do something to make it stand out and make it that monthly thing? And I don't know what to do about that. Frankly, as always, without ideas, which is, my greatest strength. So if you have thoughts on all of that, then please let me know in the comments. I know it's harder than, typing in live stream, but please let me know. I do value all of your opinions on all of that. And that's certainly going to happen in one way or another. And to kind of end this off for now, the whole Naomi King, Daniel Green situation certainly impacted BookTube a lot last week, and I have a lot of thoughts, and I'm very angry at a lot of people, and they may not be the people that you think they are, because, I did share Naomi's first video. I got like one very angry commenter calling me a virtue signaling clown for sharing Naomi's first video, and yeah, if you are watching this, you person, well, fuck you, because that's wrong. And anyway, so I don't know what to do about all of that. I try to stay out of it. I may, depending on how the situation evolves after Naomi's video from today, I may unlist that specific post, because in hindsight, obviously, some things are, situations change. But that's that part. Beyond anything else, I stand by what I did there. I think sharing that first video at that moment in time was the correct thing to do, and I will always do that again. I will always share testimony by anyone claiming to have, experienced abuse of any way, of any form. I will always share that, and I will always believe these people. That may change later, but that's the first step, and that will not change. So anyone expecting me to apologize or anything of the sorts, now you've come to the wrong channel here, right? And when or if I make that video and I want to talk about the larger impact on like BookTube and so forth, which ties into a lot of things that I've been saying about BookTube community and so forth in the past, that will be a video that does not go into details about the specific situation, but more about like what we can learn from like how different people on BookTube reacted to it, what kind of videos people made, who made videos, who didn't, and so forth. Because I think there's a lot to learn there, and there's a lot to understand there, and most of it is incredibly frustrating. But that's the kind of video I would potentially make. So, yeah, I don't know where to go from this. Certainly an interesting week, and I'll say this, I don't usually don't delete comments unless they are hate speech of any form. So you can tell me whatever you want down in the comments. If you insult someone, I will take that down. If you, because yeah, that's not what this is for. So be aware of that. But otherwise, tell me your opinions. I do value them in one way or another, but that's just like how things are at the moment. I think like one important part here is that as someone who has said in the past that I think booktubers should be more responsible about what we do, or take our platform, a responsibility of having a platform seriously. I try to do that. I keep trying to do that, and that means, unfortunately, that you kind of have to pay attention to these kind of developments if you have the mental fortitude and headspace for that, right? Like, obviously, these kind of topics are incredibly hard. So if I don't expect anyone to do that unless they are up to it right now because of having no trauma or whatever that gets triggered by that kind of stuff. Which is why I did pay attention to all of it, and I do have opinions on it. And I think I will, as I said, I will say something at some point. We'll see where that goes. But beyond that, as I said, health-wise, the tooth situation is progressing slowly. It'll take a long time. It's expensive. What can you do? But Pirate Winter may be over next week, which may allow me to finally get back to doing the Brandon Sanderson thing. And wouldn't that be, really, really cool, and something for all of us to look forward to? So yeah, how was your last week? Please let me know. I'd be interested. I really, hope you had a good week. Weren't sick, read some amazing books, all of these cool things. Let me know about all of that down in the comments as well, and like and subscribe and comment and do other things that are fun. There is obviously a Patreon, but the world being what it is, I understand if no one has the capacity to support me in a financial way, so don't feel bad about that either. I don't know, try to be good people. is all I can say right now, and I'll talk to you about something else very soon, and until then, well, thanks and cheers.